Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamson Entertainment. And welcome to the conversation. Just before we get started, there are many ways you can help. You can like and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. But most importantly, please share this video. Get the word out there as a community. We can talk about all the things that we love. Today on Throwback Thursday, we're looking at The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies. Although while I was watching this, I came up with a better title for it, but we'll get to that in a moment. In addition to the cast from the first two movies, this is also starring Billy Connolly. This one starts out exactly where the last one left off. I didn't bring it up in that review because it would have been a spoiler. They leave the second movie on a huge cliffhanger. Smaug breaks free from the Dwarven Kingdom because of the dialogue him and Thorin have. And so he goes to Lake Town, and beginning of this one, he's destroying everything. And Bard is the man that brings Smaug down. Shortly after that, the five armies in the title of the movie start amassing. Now, here's why I think the title I came up with would have been a better one. The Battle for the Mountain. It makes a whole lot more sense. As I was watching this, I was like, what are the five armies? You have the elves. They show up because the Elven King of the Woods, there is an heirloom, a jewel that he wants back from the dwarves. There's this animosity between the dwarves and the elves, mostly because of this Jamson, and so he marches on Erebor. Then you have the 200 or 300 humans that are left, and if you narrow it down to the men, there's about maybe 250 of them. They're counting that as an army, so we're at 2. And the dwarves, and then the orcs have 2 armies. That's the Battle of the Five Armies. When I think of this title, I think of 5 distinct armies, not a few hundred people, and then one guy has 2 at his disposal. But whatever. I didn't make the movie. I didn't title it. I just think The Battle for the Mountain is a far better title because it makes way more sense. The majority of this movie is the war. Even though this is only 2 hours and 15 minutes long, for there to be, about 45 minutes of just war? And I guess it could be interesting, but when you really don't care, and I don't care because Thorin is going crazy. Everyone around him, mostly Balin and Bilbo, but so did the other dwarves and Gandalf, recognize he has what's called dragon sickness. He's just obsessed with gold, and it's happened to his grandfather. It takes most of the movie for Thorin to get his head out of his butt, and it's just a conversation he has with Dwalin. Really, not even that conversation. It just goes from that one to Thorin being in where Smaug was covered in gold. It was a river of gold, and now it's frozen over. It's just a floor now. He's walking on that. I think they just visually show what's going through his head, and that snaps him out of it. I need to read the book to really understand what's going on here, because I hope it's not this abrupt. Because, so they do show the slight corruption of Thorin in the last film, and in this one he's just gold crazy for 2/3 of this movie. He can't be reasoned with at all, especially the fact that he made a promise to the people of Lake Town that they would get a share of the gold for helping them. They were in need, and Bard helped them out. And Thorin's like, nope, it's all mine, not helping you, don't care. I went through hardship too, you can live through hardship as well. That's basically what he says. Meanwhile, in Lord of the Rings foreshadowing, I don't remember Gandalf getting captured, but that's kind of a theme for him, especially in Lord of the Rings. When it gets to Gandalf, he's just hanging in a cage. Then Galadriel shows up to free Gandalf, along with Elrond and Saruman, and they fight the 9 ghosts of the 9 kings of men that ultimately become the Ringwraiths. I'm going to leave it there for the story. On a completely unrelated note, I thought of this as I was watching the last movie, mostly because I recently replayed Final Fantasy VII Remake, and now I'm playing its sequel, Rebirth. If you're familiar with Final Fantasy VII, the main villain is Sephiroth. And Thranduil, I cannot unsee what I see. If they ever made a live-action Final Fantasy VII, Lee Pace would be perfect for Sephiroth. Back to griping about this movie. The throwdown between between Thorin and Azog. I'll just say this, it's disappointing. It's kind of fun to watch, but it ends in disappointment. As I mentioned, this is the shortest of the 3 films, and I heard this while the movies are coming out from people who read the book. I completely agree with them. You totally could have made The Hobbit into 2 movies, easily. And you still could have tied it to Lord of the Rings, but not so much so where it takes half the movie to tie it to Lord of the Rings. You can easily combine Desolation of Smaug and the Battle of the 5 Armies into 1 movie if you cut out the Lord of the Rings stuff in the Desolation of Smaug and you just make the last third the war. You'd have it for like 20 minutes or so, and then the last 10 minutes is just wrap up. Simple. I don't know why they didn't do that other than studio interference. The studio was like, no, we must have 2 trilogies, not 1.5 or 1 2/3. Overall, the Hobbit trilogy is enjoyable, although I don't think I could recommend that you get the extended edition. If you can find the theatrical release, save yourself some time. It's just not worth the few extra scenes. Again, I'd have to watch the theatrical release to see the differences. I can definitely tell differences between the theatrical release of Lord of the Rings and the extended edition. Those are my thoughts on The Hobbit, the Battle of the 5 Armies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and live your imagination.